The developed countries our youth run to seek asylum did not fall from heaven. They are made by the people and even built by the wisdom of the civilizations of the African continent that Satan stole and transferred to the Greeks, Roman, Europeans, and their collaborators, an art that enabled Lucifer to satiate his fiendish appetite during the ensuring slave trade and the dark moments of African history. It is the same so-called advanced countries that turn around to claim that civilization originated from their shores, something they hijacked from Africa, notably North of Africa. Encouraged by the Egyptian culture, which made education only a thing for the children of the noble, and chiefly by their secret systems of writing hieroglyphic, which ensures that when Alexander the Great and his rampaging troops invaded and conquered Egypt, the royal library at the Egyptian The royal library of the Egyptians at Alexandria was looted by Alexander the Great and his invading army and burned by them. After the looting, they stole all the valuable books of the Egyptians and burned down their library. The Egyptian wise men were hounded and killed. The immense knowledge in both astrology and other fields, a people's heritage, a people's advanced legacy was virtually uprooted and transferred to a foreign land. A more sophisticated and superior knowledge was basically uprooted and transferred to a country of less privileged heritage, a country of inferior knowledge. The same way the oil wealth of the Ogonese and other oil-producing areas are used to develop other parts of the country, leaving horrifying excavation holes in their landmarks to their detriment. What proof, if things continue this way, with the coming generation of the Ogonese and others have to show that the gaping holes, staring them in the face, was as a result of weight of staggering values stolen from their land, despite the fact that the generation that will abuse them over their opulence, despite the fact that the generation that will abuse them owe their opulence to them. And no matter what they do, the leap of truth shall be established forever. A lying tongue is but for a moment. And anybody who says it is the wish of God that a person who cooked a soup must not taste of it is talking nonsense. And to be free from all fears, we must have but one fear, the fear of God. Otherwise, desires are in vain. Suddenly, the scales of the inheritors of the stolen African knowledge became wise men renowned for advancing original superior arguments in various disciplines based on their research into the decoded books stolen from Egypt by Alexander the Great. They became philosophers of jack of all trades because the knowledge did not originate from them. This made it possible for one single individual to propound or advocate landmark fundamental theories in different disciplines at the same time, which was not intellectually possible on a single lifespan. Men like Socrates and Pythagoras and so on and so forth advocated theories in diametrically opposed discipline at the same time because the knowledge was not theirs, coupled with the fact that they came from a land of inferior knowledge. Therefore, the theories they were propagating were not in consonance with their surroundings. Their people cannot identify their theories with their backwards surroundings because the scope and magnitude of the arguments were so intellectually advanced that their people lacked the intellectual wherewithal to comprehend the ideas. Their ideas were foreign to the people who in turn persecuted and killed them for preaching a foreign doctrine. The lucky ones ran away and went into exile, where they lived until they died. Some committed suicide, and yet others were killed by their own people. If the doctrine they propagated originated from them, actually, then the enabling background would have been existing to accommodate their ideas. So it was that the presumed intellectual superiority of the white man over the black man was based on the fundamental articulated knowledge of the Africans, scattered away by their phobias, wiping all traces, not even mentioning our past heritage stolen by their phobias, thereby subjecting the Africans and the black man to dehumanizing position as the dumping ground of the so-called Western civilization, calling us the third world, the ghetto of decadent civilization, custodians of backwardness and the borrower's continent, in a thing they should by right be the head. Of course, many of them knew, because their phobias told them that they believed that the intellectual superiority over the black man is a lie, a serious misconception, and the so-called developed world have always been sleeping with one eye open because of the black man. Liberation of the black man is not in their interest because it will correct these lies and put the record straight by events which will unfold almost immediately, primarily because the advancement of the black man will be so astronomical, that is, combination of brain and natural endowment, that they in turn will become the dumping ground for made in African Tokumbo goods. The liberation of Nigeria is here, but I'm going to put it Biafra. The liberation of Biafra is by implication the liberation of the whole blacks, both in Africa and the diaspora. They know it, which is responsible for their lackluster posture on the plight of the common Biafran. Nigeria was here, but I'm removing it. Biafran men and women, and even encourage the situation here. We should have to stop looking up to them for deliverance because the devil and his cohorts are using many of them to hold us in bondage. Where was international morality when slavery was to the advantage? Slavery was because of industrial revolution, discovery of or invention of machine, not because of their bankrupt conscience. To them, morality is in terms of money. When slavery turned to their disadvantage, did they ever try to reintegrate the already displaced slaves? They wanted to deport them back to Africa and actually deported most of them to such cities as Freetown and so on and so forth. If not for them, we would have been free a long time ago, because each time the agitation becomes so strong as to change the system, they will steal the thunder from the people with threats of waste and of self-sanctions against the oppressors of the people. That's what PDP is doing. They think they're in opposition. They are not in opposition. Laudable threats that could have solved our problems if carried out. The resolve of the people will now weaken as a result of looking up to them to solve our problem. They will then carry out minimal threats and cosmetic changes, and quickly the organizers with the status quo chaining the people in order to continue to steal the resources of the people. Satan is insinuating them, and they know it. Their responses to situations are most often based on deceit of the people, falsehood, carnally, nonchalantly, and fraudulently, because their knowledge is for self-aggrandizement, as they are being manipulated by Lucifer, the evil one. Look at it. Look at it. The Jews of others, we are still waiting for their Messiah to come, when they have already hung the Messiah. Their Messiah have come and gone, and because they were sleeping, did not recognize him. Nigeria's problem is not ordinary, and only divine intervention can solve it. That is it. Let me just stop here and go over to other things. That is it. I've told you. That is exactly what they are doing. That is what they are relearning. So by the time all these things, they do all this wealth transfer, and tomorrow you look at them, look at how Abuja is. When you look at Abuja and you go to Olobiri or where all your was first discovered, can you compare the two? Can you believe it's only in Olobiri that developed Abuja and all these places they are developing in the north? It's not possible. And the generation that will abuse you from the north, the marginaries that will become the allies of the society tomorrow, that will abuse you, they owe their way to you. But then look at it. We are going to suffer the degradations of the environment. That's it. You suffer the hazard. Why they take the oil? So why is it? Let me come back to the issue of Boko Haram so that we finish. You said, I told you before when Obasanjo was saying when the hotels, how the foreigners were sponsoring Boko Haram, and when they go to the northeast, they are booked hotels, you know, up to in advance for 15 years. They have booked the hotels. Let me read one report that was surprising when I talked about Obasanjo being the man who actually, with Clinton, who actually created Boko Haram. People think it's a lie. Look at this news report. It says Boko Haram will continue for 15 years. If that's what Obasanjo said in August of 2019. Reported by all the medias, carried it. I'm quoting one of them. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has again expressed his disappointment over the continued existence of Boko Haram in the northern part of the country, stating that if the current government does not ensure that every child is in school, the military the militancy may linger till the next 15 years. He knows it. Obasanjo shared the thought on Boko Haram while he was giving a speech at a youth program packed by the Youth Development Center in Ogun State. He equally maintained that Nigerian population may reach around 450 million within the next 30 years, and that could prove disastrous if many children are left on the street without proper education. Obasanjo reiterated, there should be no Nigerian child that should be out of school for any reason. You have already got your Boko Haram in the next 15 years if you don't do anything about that. So whatever you are talking about, unless you take care of inclusivity, you will not get there. Quality is important, but inclusivity much better. That's Obasanjo. He knows it. He knows it. And look at it. He said 9.5 million Amajiri may join Boko Haram. This is pilot of April 7, 2019. So they know what they are doing. He said the Nigerian government has been warned to act fast and integrate Amajiri boys into the conventional school system in order to stem the tide of violence and extremism in the country. Coalitions of groups made a call in the aftermath of escalating violent crimes in the country, using President Muhammadu Buhari, urging President Muhammadu Buhari to actualize President Goodluck Jonathan's Amajiri Integration Initiative. It was gathered that currently Adamawa State is home to an estimated 200,000 Amajiri destitute children, most of them coming from neighboring Yobe, Gombe, and Bauchi. They are part of UNICEF annual report on Nigeria, which put 2,711,767 as the number of Amajiris from the northeast, representing 25% of his total 9.5 million Amajiri population in Nigeria. The implication is that the Amajiri population represents 72% of the country's 13.2 million out-of-school children. Look at it. They know it. They integrate them, the United Nations, the Fulanis, they use the Hausas, convert them into Amajiris. That's what they do. They don't allow them to go to school while the Fulanis send their own children to school. The Amajiris now become the supply line to the civilian JTF and all that. United Nations will train them, then they are promoted to Boko Haram. That's what they do. They are promoted to Boko Haram, and when they are called, then they will release them. That's what they do. So the chain continues. All the whole Amajiri schools that Jonathan built, what happened? Built how many of them? They not destroyed them by themselves. So that this supply line continues. So when you are talking about Boko Haram, the end is not coming today. So that is it. You see, see Obasanjo what he said? You understand me? So that is it. So Obasanjo, look at it. So Obasanjo created the Boko Haram with Bill Clinton. That's the totality of it all. These guys as, this Operation Focus Relief in the guise of peacekeeping in Sierra Leone and African countries, which was a lie. They created it in order to use them as the foot soldiers that will hold the area, during the time of the deregulation of the downstream sector of the oil industry, like I told you, which was, a guise to sell off the complete geese that lays the golden eggs, selling off of the mainstay resources of the Niger Delta. And they wanted to use this business of Operation Focus Relief to hold these people in bondage so that the activity will continue to go on. That was what happened. That was even how the military in the Niger Delta area started and all that. All this a borrowed concept, like as I told you. It was this initial thing that they created that Yusuf just lifted in 2003. Created it and started using it to guide political figures as thugs and all that. And later they progressed into what they became, and then they started using them. So when Obasanjo sold Bakassi, like as I told you, and that Bakassi, the Bakassi issue, the Obasanjo is richer than that Dangote, but people don't know. Obasanjo is the richest man today. The proceeds of what they stole from Bakassi, they laundered it through Globacom. When Obasanjo laundered that thing through Mike Adenuga Globacom, he didn't know that Babangida owned 42%, owned 24% of shares in Globacom through his son Mohammed, who bought 24% of Globacom for $40 billion, 40 billion naira. Where did Mohammed Babangida get 40 million naira to buy Globacom share? So Obasanjo did not know. So when they were laundering it, when they were laundering those things, that Globacom become the single telecommunication company in the world that owns their submarine cable. They built a submarine cable from London to Nigeria. And this is Mike Adenuga. Who was Mike Adenuga before? This was a man who was a gate man in the United States of America. He was a guide. He was a taxi driver. So where did he get the money to build a submarine from London to Nigeria here? Something that cost other African countries, more than 25 African countries combined to own their own. But they are the only person. Go and look at the companies that build those things for him. They are the same companies who are involved in the Bakassi debacle, from the war court and all that. And they are the only legal entity that were allowed to be present in the secret trials of the so-called captured Boko Haram prisoners and all that. Go and check what I'm telling you. So when Obasanjo discovered that Mike Adenuga off front, because already the day had been done, when he now discovered that Babangida owns 24% of Global, what did he do? Trouble started. Mike Adenuga was almost arrested. That was when I think Mohamed Abacha was arrested too. That was the quarrel they had then. Then later on, Obasanjo had to float the second train for Globacom, which he used to launder the same proceeds. Then the so-called LNG gas in his place. That was how they laundered it. Then the remaining money, they laundered it through this build, own and operate something that was the system that the Yorubas used and laundered their money. The remaining ones, they were consolidated during the bank consolidation, consolidating something they used to consolidate all their own money, integrate them with foreign banks and all that. and forever their weight is secured. Untraceable. That is why when you are discovering loot of all these janjaweeds, Abacha loot, you are not hearing from the Yorubas because their own are laundered internally on build, own, operate. Build, own, operate, and transfer. That is what they are doing. That is how the Yorubas cleverly laundered all their money. So what happened? Immediately, the Bakassi issue happened, and they were able to get a safer place to do their business when I told you Bakassi became the interface between the deregulation of oil industry and what actually they wanted to achieve. So they can take it away from through Bakassi. So their needs have been met. Already Boko Haram is already there. Then what happened? Obasanjo left. When Obasanjo left, now enters Yar'Adua and Jonathan. So when President Jonathan took over power, after the death of Yar'Adua, then what happened? These greedy people, the international community, we still this Obasanjo, they needed more territories in Bakassi Peninsula. They needed more territories, so Budu, cattle ranch and all that. They wanted some of those territories. And mind you, when this thing was going on, they set up a committee to do the boundary adjustment and all that. That committee was led by Bola Ajibola too. He was the head of their commission. So they needed more Nigerian territories. So in order to get more Nigerian territories, this was their plot, what they plotted. You know, the so-called Mumu of Jonathan, or what you call as his meekness or humbleness, is never a humble man. He's a man of selfish interest. In order to deceive Jonathan, what did they do? They wanted to embarrass his government. That was why they staged the kidnapping of the Chibok schoolgirls. They wanted to get Jonathan to allow them to take more territories, which they will integrate into the boundary adjustment processes that were going on then. So in order to succeed, they now kidnapped the Chibok girls. They kidnapped the Chibok girls in order to see the embarrassment of Jonathan, then come to the back and pretend as if they want to help Jonathan. Then they will organize for the rescue of the girls, bring it to Jonathan, and Jonathan will be pleased. Then in compensation or in appreciation of what they have done, Jonathan will now allow the boundary adjustment program to go as they wanted it to go. And they nearly succeeded. But their greed overtook them. They now saw Jonathan as very meek. And they now decided that instead of going according to what they planned, they now decided, no, let us have it. Let us remove Jonathan and take over power. So what did they do? They used the same Boko Haram to remove Jonathan from power and then put their man, this Buhari that came into power today, so that they will now completely take over everything. So that is the thing that is haranguing against them. So when you see people talking about Boko Haram started in 2003, they are wasting their time, or 2009 and all that. No. The Boko Haram that started in 2009 was the Boko Haram that was formed by Yusuf in 2003. Who lifted it up from the one that was formed during Operation Focus Relief? That is the main secret that I want the world to know today. Those who may think I'm making hate speech, I have to quote one thing the governor of Ebonyi State said. The governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, made a remarkable statement which I intend to be held accountable in all my submissions if I fail to substantiate them, because this is of world consequences. In an interview he granted to the Sun newspaper published in the Sun of October 7, 2017, on what he claimed Buhari told him on Biafra agitation, he said, in response to a question, that hate speech seems to be the order of the day in Nigeria. And what is the Ebonyi State government doing about it? That is the question. Because they will say, I'm doing hate speech. Now look at his response. Look at what he responded, and I want the world to hear it. I'm quoting Dave Umahi. He said, we have a very important law we are going to make, and that will be on hate speeches. You will have to prove henceforth whatever allegation you put forward, whether it is on the social media or on the pages of newspaper. we are going to make the law so that when you are accusing anybody, you will have to prove it. We will create a department that will be in charge of this of that, so that we regulate hate speech in the state. Already, Kaduna State did it. And I told the governor, please export whatever you have in Kaduna and bring it here. What is pulling this country down is our mouth and mindset. People just sit down at one corner and start to destroy people and cook up all kinds of things you cannot prove. We know that this is democracy, but he that comments must prove his or her point, and we must insist on that. They can't one dare to prove our point and strengthen democracy. Anybody who stays at the corner of his or her house to accuse you, that person must be fished out to. That person must be fished out to prove his point. I intend to be heard by this particular comment. Anything I say I cannot prove. Crucify me, if you like. Put me on it. I intend. So all these things I'm saying, let them disprove it. I'm giving you all the facts. Now, as far as substantiation, Bakassi was transferred to Cameroon on 14th of August 2008 in Cross River State. I attended the ceremony. Now what happened after the transfer of Bakassi? And they started the boundary adjustment program and all that. What happened? Up to today, that boundary adjustment has not been completed till today. To tell you exactly what I told you about the Chibo school girls, why they kidnapped them. Now let me quote one report from you. I'm going to quote a report, an in-depth report. The renewed plot to siege Cross River communities to Cameroon. This was by Sunday Sun of June 15, 2014. In the Republic column, it featured the then Senate leader, Ndoma Eba. Now let me quote the report for you. It said the renewed plot to siege Cross River communities to Cameroon. Now listen. It said Senate leader Victor Ndoma Eba's son has raised the alarm that unless there is an urgent intervention, Nigeria risks losing the famous Obudu cattle ranch, the Abokim waterfalls, and some local government to Cameroon in a latest round of boundary adjustment. I hope the world is listening. He said to Adetutu Folashade Koyi the suspension about the amendment of Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution, which stipulates procedures for drafting a new constitution, among other national issues. Now, look at the extract. Look at the question they asked me. He said last week, there was a rumor that some communities of Nigeria in Cross River State will be going to Cameroon following the United Nations boundary adjustment as a result of the Green Tree Agreement. What is the situation report now? And look at his response. He said, well, there are some boundary delineation exercises going on as a result of the Green Tree Agreement, which was the consequence of the judgment of the International Court of Justice on what we call Bakassi. The Green Tree Agreement necessitated some boundary adjustment, and that exercise started somewhere from Lake Chad and is supposed to go right down to the Atlantic Ocean in the south. So the exercise is going on, but in a place called Danari in Bokit local government area in my constituency. The Anglo-German boundary of 1913 has been there, and the particular beacon stone, beacon 113 we had, cannot be found. The rest have been found, and that is the one they are trying to locate. The United Nations team is insisting on taking a straight line. Now, the communities believe that the beacon is somewhere further in the Cameroon. If they do a straight line as they want to do, then we will be losing some communities to the Cameroon, including the famous Abokim waterfalls, where Honorable John Eno comes from. So I am in touch with the Cross River State government and the community. We are looking at it so that I will bring a formal motion to the floor. You know, I came under Order 42 the last time just to give notice about my intention to bring a motion. Then they asked me another question. But the information you are giving us is contrary to what the National Boundary Commission told the nation. Now look at his response. He said, well, my constituents who are from there are the ones who have expressed the concern that I have just narrated to you. I am in direct contact with the constituents. I am in direct contact with even the chairman of the local government. And what is even more worrisome is that few days ago, the team was there with soldiers. And we have been wondering where these soldiers come from without the chairman of the local government knowing, the state government knowing what is actually going on. I hope the world is listening. Then he was asked, there is the allegation that the Cameroonian gendarmes are there now. He said, yes, because Nigerian soldiers came. The moment you move through to a boundary, okay, he said, yes, because Nigerian soldiers came. The moment you move through to a boundary area, the other side is likely to move through. That is a natural thing. Then he will ask the question, is it true if they follow a straight line without locating back on 113 and 113A, Nigeria will lose about 8 local government areas, including the famous Obudu cattle ranch? Look at his answer. We are going to lose a substantial territory. That is what I can say. I am still getting brief on it. Now, the good thing is that we have the boundary communities. We have Danari in Nigeria and Danari in Cameroon. Danari 1, Danari 2. They know their traditional boundaries. They know where their traditional boundaries are. And they have had no problem with that. So we want to make a case for the United Nations team to just accept the traditional boundaries that the two communities agreed on and let the sleeping dog lie. I will not go further to read this interview. I hope I'm setting my point. So if they say I'm lying or making an unfounded allegation, let them dispute what I said. That's why I go in depth to give you a panoramic view of exactly what is taking place, to give you the background, so that when you see me calling all these Luciferic spirits, United Nations and all that, so that the world will not think I'm joking. I'm not joking. So these are for international consequences. I will still come to tell you exactly how the Chibok girls were kidnapped. So that was the thing that they did. You understand me? So after this report, look at it. Let me read another report for you. I'm reading, this report I'm going to read is, I'm giving you punch. I think this is punch of, this is punch of Monday, March 7, 2016. Now, you said Cameroon has annexed 16 mangrove island villages of Efiat clan in Mbo local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Mbo Mangrove Island is a fishing settlement which lies west of the Rio de Re estuary and serves as the official borderline between Nigeria and Cameroon. According to the report, the island boasts oil wells and abundant gas reserves. A member representing Mbo State constituency in the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Mr. Samuel Ufua, told reporters in Uyo on Sunday that he reported the matter. He reported the matter to the assembly as a matter a week ago. According to him, the continued expansionist foreign policy of Cameroon threatens Nigerian sovereignty on its maritime border. He said the Central African nation security agencies had been terrorizing Nigerians in the area, carrying out economic activities on the border. Border communities, he said, and I'm quoting him, Cameroon has annexed 16 villages in Efiat clan Mbo local government area, which were not part of the peninsula under dispute between Nigeria and Cameroon. Have you seen it? Not part. Not part. That is where exactly the Chibok case were kidnapped. You see it. I'm giving you the report. Then he said, Mboamanglup Island is currently under the administrative control of Cameroon. This island is blessed with resources such as minerals and copious fishing routes. The island has approximately 350 oil wells. The strategic economic importance of this region brought the envy by our Cameroon brothers. It is pathetic to know that Akwa Ibom people who are living in their villages established when there was no Nigerian or Cameroon as countries are being terrorized, dehumanized, deprived of their rights and privileges, and maltreated by Cameroonian security agencies. Have you seen it? No need to go further. That is what I'm just trying to tell you. Then let us hear it from the United Nations themselves. When I say what I say about them, and this of international consequences, that is what is going to destroy Nigeria. The atrocities of the leaders themselves. The atrocities of the leaders themselves. What did they say? Boko Haram hindered demarcation of Nigeria and Cameroon border. This is Vanguard of July 20, 2018. Check when the border was transferred. Today, that demarcation have not taken place. That demarcation have not taken place up to today. Now look at it, I'm reading the report. The United Nations has said the demarcation of the Cameroon-Nigerian border continues to face challenges due to insecurity in areas affected by the presence of what? Can you imagine? Boko Haram. Why? Because they are looking for the right opportunity to carry on their game. That is what is happening now. They claim it's Boko Haram. Boko Haram, terrorist organization, is preventing an international organization that was set up to prevent wars and the root causes of wars. That is United Nations. Then Boko Haram, a criminal organization, is the one that is stopping them from the demarcation of these documents I'm quoting to you. I'm bringing it in the public arena. People in Biafra land are helpless. The conscience of the world, let it be aroused. And let there be a global movement to bring down these forces of darkness. It is beyond us. It is beyond us. The world have to react. I'm giving you first-class documents. He said this is contained in a report of the Secretary General Antonio Guterres, this criminal. This one now, they are putting a law, this transfers you make with Western transfer money from overseas, you transfer money to Nigeria, you are no longer going to do it. That's the plot again they are doing. They call it TDC fund. You will not be able to do it again. Targeted at their funds. So let me continue with the report. He said this is contained in a report of the Secretary General Antonio Guterres on the activities of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel. Guterres, who cited the unrest in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon as party responsible for the challenges faced by Cameroon, Nigeria Mixed Commission. He said, insecurity in areas affected by Boko Haram confirmed to hinder the activities of the Cameroon, Nigeria Mixed Commission in the northernmost region of the land boundary between the two countries. Social and political unrest in the English-speaking northwestern and southwestern region of Cameroon raised additional security concerns. As a result, the demarcation of the borders and the subsequent emplacement of pillars continue to be a challenge. Against that background, parties of the Mixed Commission met in Lagos, Nigeria on March 20 to finalize the implementation of reinforced security measures for field operation. In this regard, Mr. Guterres noted the activities of his special representative for West Africa and the Sahel, Mohammed Ibn Chambal, this great terrorist himself, who also served as chair of the Mixed Commission. Have you seen the terrorists in charge of the Mixed Commissions? There's no need to continue to read the report with Bolaji, Ajibola, and all that. Have you seen them? Have you seen their report? Have you seen it? Then look at it. Personally myself, because it's a long time I've been on the trail of this. Then Domeba himself, I personally interviewed him in his office. I have the record, I have the tape up to this moment, I still have that tape. Because I was very conscious of my role in future. So people who think that who just came when the light of what is done in the secret corners is illuminating. They claim they are the ones who, they don't know they have been underground fire that have been set underneath for a long time. They only saw it when the smoke now became very visible. They came and claimed glory. They don't know what is happening. Where are your files? Where are the documents that you have? Where are the documents that you have? I'm going to read you my interview with Ndomegba, the Senate leader, on exclusively on this particular Bakassi issue. So this interview with Ndomegba was, which was in 2008, a day before the rerun of the gubernatorial election that took place in that state. It was held in Ndomegba's office. Ndomegba is currently the chairman of the Niger Delta Development Commission. He was a three-term senator representing Cross River Central of Cross River State in the Senate from 2002 to 2015. This interview was held in his office in Calabar on Friday, August 22, 2008. I went there with a group of journalists because we were to monitor the gubernatorial election that will be held the next day. So I took the opportunity to interview him specifically on this Bakassi issue. We are many in his office. Now look at the questions. A lot of things were said. But let me go to the one that concerns the Bakassi issue. I asked him this question. I said, sir, as a senator, as a senior lawyer, and as a distinguished senator, sir, few days ago, we witnessed the handover of Bakassi Peninsula to Cameroon. Before the handover, there were calls from numerous quarters that it should not be done. But on the long run, they say the international judgment supersedes or is superior to our local or national laws. And our judiciary views on that, we would like you to give us your own brief views on this Bakassi issue. That was the question I posed to him. And now very important, look at his response. He said Bakassi has been handed over, and that is the reality of the situation. And now discussing it is academic. It's for academicians to go into the merit or otherwise. But for me, as a politician, the place has been handed over. And our concern now is the welfare of those who have been displaced as a result of this action. As we speak now, we have over 4,000 refugees in the camp. We were girded as a country to enter into the Green Tree Agreement. One would like to see all those international communities and all those foreign countries that urge us on to enter into the agreement, to the Green Tree Agreement, to come and take responsibility for the refugee situation. The international community should also see to how these people are relocated. It's not just enough to say, okay, go and sign the Green Tree Agreement and implement it, and then they disappear. We are talking of human beings who have lost their heritage, human beings who have lost their homestead, human beings who have been displaced from territories that they have spent all their life in. I think what we should be concerned about is how to minimize the traumas of this recent event. So the federal government, along with the international community, should begin to think about how these people should be compensated, how the people whose land has been taken for settlement should be compensated, and how Cross River State should be compensated and protected from any loss of revenue from the city of Bakassi. Then I asked him the next question. Sir, finally on the Bakassi issue, just only for academic purposes, as you just said. And he responded, I'm not an academician. And I asked again, that's okay. But before the handover was carried out, we were led to think that the Senate was still in the process to endorse the treaty. But all of a sudden, on the handover date, we found out that the Senate already endorsed the treaty. This is a very important question for the Constitution of Nigeria. So people hear what they said, because Bakassi judgment was a judgment on the sovereignty of Nigeria. You can't sit Bakassi and you are talking about indivisibility of Nigeria. Nigeria is already divided by Air Force. The CJ judgment on Bakassi was a complete judgment on sovereignty of this country. But let me repeat the question that I asked him. I said, that's okay. But before the handover was carried out, we were led to think that the Senate was still in the process to endorse the treaty. But all of a sudden, on the handover date, we found out that the Senate already endorsed the treaty. This is what Ndomegba said. the Senate endorsed no treaty. And I asked him, what actually happened, sir? Look at his response, very important for the whole world to hear. The Senate set up a joint committee made up of Committee of Foreign Affairs, Committee of Judiciary, and Committee of State and Local Government to look at the Green Tree Agreement and advise the Senate. You should recall not too long ago, the Senate had a public hearing on the Green Tree Agreement. And prior to that, the Joint Committee has visited the sites where these people have been relocated and where the refugees are being brought from. The Joint Committee is yet to submit their report to the Senate. So it's wrong to say the Senate endorsed because we are yet to receive the report of the committee. Have you seen the legality? Have you seen it? How our stolen weight is taken. Have you seen it? Sold for private purposes, using state power as a cover. Now wait, I ask him again, sir, since the report of the Joint Committee set up by the Senate has not been actually received, sir, what is actually the hurry? I mean, is it not what is actually the hurry? I mean, is it not resettling these displaced people first before the handover was done? Why is the hurry, sir? Do you know what he said? He said, well, you ask that to the executive arms of government. Look at it. Those who are making his speech. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? So there was no legal backing for the Green Tree Agreement that Obasanjo went and implemented. I think the world is saying it. So Nigeria is a country that no longer exists. There's nothing like constitution. They're talking about constitution. I'm not getting into that, but I'm showing you exactly what happened. You have seen how the demarcation of the border, they claim that is what? It's Boko Haram. That is why when you see, when I talk about Nnamdi Kanu, people don't even understand what they are talking about. They don't understand what I'm saying. He went and built alliance with the Yorubas, not knowing that their prime enemies, not even the Fulanis, the Yorubas. But these are people he's claiming building alliance with this is aligning with them. The hyena that will destroy Biafrans. You don't know? That was the same mistake Ojukwu made. Ojukwu made the same mistake. Because there is always a serendipitous opportunity that occurs in any crisis. And if you don't take the opportunity of it, you are gone for. Even during the war, Ojukwu committed some blunders. Maybe out of personality ego or something like that. When the capture of Midwest, when he instigated, when they were to go and capture the Midwest, and when they had a plan to march to Lagos, whom did he put? He put Banjo. Banjo was the wrong person to put there. Maybe he was trying to prove to Awolowo, that the agreement on if the East secede, maybe the West will follow suit. Maybe that was what he was trying to implement. But my mind tells me it was because of the personality clash he had with Nzogo. The right man that would have led that crisis was Nzogo. And if Nzogo had led that operation, the story would be different for the Biafrans. But Onego clad that opportunity, that serendipitous opportunity that I called loss, it was mixed. And what is consequences? Look at what we have gone through since that time. And they say those who condemn their history are condemned. Those who refuse to know, those who forget their history are condemned to repeat it. And that is where Biafrans are condemned to repeat their history if they are not careful. I can't aspire to rule you. I'm not interested in ruling anybody. I can't. I have to give you the light that will make you to extricate yourself from this negative contraption. If you miss to use the opportunity that I'm giving you, you are all done. It may take another 1,000 years before this opportunity will come again. And the consequences will be too grievous to you people. You see the interview I read to you. South China, see what happened. Was it not the same ICJ that asked China to go away? What did China tell them? China told them that their judgment is written on the waste paper, on toilet roll. That's what China told the ICJ. Go and look at it. South China said, they are still possessing it today. Told them that their judgment is written on toilet roll. Forget about all the looting. It's just because of the looting. General Sani Abacha has been the best head of state and would have been the best president Nigeria ever had. You can look at what he did in Bakassi. He fortified it. Did the Cameroonians raise any? Did they raise anything? They never raised a whimper. He amassed all well because he wanted to be richer than Babangida and Obasanjo and all of them, and then kill all of them. That was his plan. That was Abacha's plan. This was a man who was pariahed by the whole international community. He never traveled outside this country. Yet Nigerian economy was growing very fast. All this ginger with detoned the whole Sultan of Sokoto, detoned Sultan, and put the Fulanis on check. All this, what do you call it? All this rectiveness. Do you have it? Everyone was quiet. He was ruling. Go and look at what he did in Bakassi. What happened? He refused to recognize the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court until Richard Akinjide, quote me, anything I tell you, I have the proof. Richard Akinjide was the one who fought Abacha with his brother Nagoro, who forced him to go and recognize the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. That was what happened. They were the whole people that sold Bakassi Peninsula. I have all their records, both Bola Jibola and all that. They were lawyers for Cameroon and not for Nigeria. This PE&D London trial of this one they gave Nigeria is going to pay 9 points. Obasanjo signed this in it. Go and look at Ojo. Ojo was the lawyer they used. Who was that Ojo? This Attorney General under Obasanjo and all that and all that. Look at them. They were the people. So I'm coming to that. That's not what I'm saying. So the Yorubas, look at it. They sold it. They sold Bakassi for private gain, and I'm telling you, and that will provide all the whole documents to prove it. I'm just giving you, I will treat that case separately. Then what happened? Now when you come back to the issue of Nnamdi Kalu's broadcast on Abawani, I need to bring this background so that we can actually see this Abawani, why they are trying to force this issue. Then what happened? When they needed this boundary, when they needed to take this more of this territories from Cross River State, then how did they combine? How did they kidnap the Chibos girls? They now brought, when Yusuf died, there were strong elements in Yusuf quarters. You know, this Abanawi and Co and Shekau and Oko. They were the strong elements in Yusuf Boko Haram that was formed in 2003, that went militant in 2009 when their leader was killed. So they brought these strong elements, Shekau and Co, from Yusuf gang, merged them with group that was formed in Operation Focused Relief. They merged together. This strong element of this merged together. When they merged together, they were the people that were used to kidnap the Chibok schoolgirls. Then after the kidnap of the Chibok schoolgirls, in order to hide how the deal was done forever and ever, what did they do? They separated them, they balkanized them, so that they cannot trace the gang to any particular group. That was how this balkanization started. Of this Abanawi and Co. That was how the balkanization started. That was the origin of the balkanization. Then when this balkanization started, unfortunately for them, one of them was caught, one of the commanders was caught in Lokoja by the Nigerian military. With five of them, with 5 other colleagues. These were part of the people that were using kidnapping the Chibok schoolgirls. And it was through these people that you are going to use to prove the American CIA involvement in the kidnapping of the Chibok schoolgirls. Where were the Chibok schoolgirls taken? They were taken to Cameroon. It was Cameroon. All these Jam Campbell, they were using satellite, Google satellite to tell them how to escape. When the Chibok schoolgirls were abducted. There were reports that they saw helicopters and all that. That was how they escaped. So they balkanized them, separated them so that nobody can know what actually happened. So when this group were captured in Lokoja and they were kept in Nigerian custody, what happened? It became a danger to the CIA. It became a redhead and a very big danger to the CIA and to their foreign powers. So they need to get at these people by all means. And they don't know what to do. How are they going to explain? You know, these ones are happening under Buhari. They don't know how to explain to Nigerians what happened. Then what did they do? They now hatch the plan to adopt the Dapchi school girls. So that when they now adopt the Dapchi school girls, they will use the Dapchi school girls. They will say the kidnappers of the Dapchi school girls wanted them to release these suspects in detention in exchange for the Dapchi school girls. That was what happened. That was why the Dapchi school girls were taken. It's one crime lead to the other. You are hiding the kidnap of the Chibok school girls. You are committing another crime to cover this. And the footsteps get more enlarged. So they kidnap the Dapchi school girls and use the Dapchi school girls to release the schools of the kidnap of the Dapchi school girls to release this one that was caught in Lokoja, which is five accomplices. They were all released and they have been executed by the CIA. That is the truth. The only Christian girl here, Shaibu. As wicked as they are, they left her there. That is exactly what happened. So this background is very, very necessary for us to understand what actually took place. That was why Martin Luther King said. He said the greatest purveyors of violence, my own government, that's the American government. That's what he said. Martin Luther King Jr. So after clearing this background for us to have, I will still treat it separately for us to have a bit understanding of what actually happened. That brings us back to that Nnamdi Kalu's tape of Sunday, 24 November 2019. Because they have been trying to cover up where he said, and I quote on Abanawi, he said, people who are sponsoring terrorist groups in Nigeria are telling you that they love you in one Nigeria and you believe them. Are you not that? ISIS in West Africa is called ISWAP. The one led by the son of Mohammed Yusuf. Buhari, when he was alive, personally acquitted. He was in a court of law. Some of you don't know this. He was released, the son of Mohammed Yusuf, al-Banawi. He is the head of ISIS in West Africa, recruited by Buhari when he was alive. He was arrested and was released by Justice John Toho. John Toho released him for lack of evidence, a terrorist. That is why USA said they are shifting their focus to West Africa because of our diplomatic moves. It is working. Have they said this before? I told the US lawmakers, I didn't hide anything from them, that if the Fulanis are the ones sponsoring terrorists in Nigeria, if the son of Yusuf Mohammed is their head, they are the ones sponsoring Al-Qaeda, insurgency, Boko Haram, ISIS, and the Fulani herdsmen, four terror groups. This is a lie from the pit of hell. It was the CIA that told him to take this lie because they have been trying to change the narrative on the captured Boko Haram commander in Lokoja. They want to use this Musab to replace him. But that is not going to work. That is what you see Nnamdi Kanu doing here. So having laid this background, now let me tell you exactly what happened again. I'll still go back to my decode, what I wrote before that brought us to this time and with something. He said that the world reflect back on the speech of the so-called newly appointed Boko Haram leader, Abu Musab al-Banawi, as contained in the audio tape of Friday, August 5, 2016, published in our local tabloid by, this is Saturday Telegraph of August 6, 2016. Boko Haram leadership crisis. Al-Banawi, Lee Shekau Singh. You can never find this thing anywhere. I said it before. This Musab al-Banawi, the Abu Musab al-Banawi, the Boko Haram new leader that was mentioned here, is Yusuf's son. He was not the one that was captured at Lokoja, as Nnamdi Kanu claimed. And I'm going to give you some reports to tell you what actually happened so that the eyes of the world will open. This is the one that was shouting that they will kill all Christians. This Musa Babanawi. He's the one that is shouting that they will kill all Christians. Yeah, they left him. Now look at it. News on Yusuf, the son of Babanawi. This is news on him. The one that was captured in Lokoja. His name is what? Osman Omar Abubakar. Osman Omar Abubakar. That was the one that was captured in Lokoja. I'm not the one to use this one to supplant him. Now, let me give you news on this Musab, this Abanawi, the new leader. Boko Haram new leader is son of executed founder inside that cell. That is CNN of August 4, 2016. He said, I'm quoting CNN. He said the new leader of Boko Haram is the son of the group founder, according to a Boko Haram insider. Abu Musab Abanawi is about 25 years old and the second son of Mohammed Yusuf, who founded the group in 2002. The source told CNN Mohammed Yusuf was captured and executed after a clash with Nigerian security forces in 2009. The insider said there was a split in the rank of the Boko Haram terror group 3 months ago, that is in May, which led to Banawi, known as Habib Yusuf, within the group to leave the Sambisa forest, where Boko Haram are believed to be hiding out. He reemerged this week, that's the first week of August 2016, after he was introduced as the new leader of the terrorist set. In an interview in the ISIS magazine Anaba, Boko Haram had long had links with ISIS, pledging allegiance to the group in March. Even though Banawi is now supposedly the leader of Boko Haram, the source told CNN that the group long-time leader Abubakar Shekau still has the larger number of followers in the Sambisa forest and critically and crucially has control of the abducted Chibok schoolgirls. The schoolgirls are seen as a powerful bargaining chip for the terrorist group, whose base has been significantly weakened. Western intelligence sources close to negotiation believe, however, that the defection of manpower and the erosion of support leave Shekau more exposed and could possibly lead to a breakthrough in the search for the abducted girls. The Boko Haram source told CNN that Banawi was Boko Haram's head of armory before he fell out with Shekau and left with some followers. The source said Shekau is seen as erratic and disorganized, and Habib didn't agree with a lot of his decisions anymore. According to the source, Banawi left the base in the Sambisa with another Boko Haram commander, Mamano, who is suspected by Nigerian authority of carrying out 2011 bombing of the United Nations building in the country's capital, Abuja. In 2011, Banawi's mother and elder brother were killed in a bombing in Kano, the source said, adding to the confusion. Abubakar Shekau broke his silence Wednesday. He challenged the new leadership announcement in a 10-minute audio message posted on YouTube to let everyone know he was still in charge. This is Musa, the son of Yusuf, that Nnamdi Kanu was talking about. This standard report, he said Boko Haram in Nigeria, Abu Musab Abanawi, named as new leader, BBC. This is BBC News of 3rd August 2016. He said the Islamic State of militant group has announced that East West African affiliate Boko Haram has a new leader, Abu Musab Abanawi, who was previously spokesman for the Nigerian-based Islamic, is featured in the latest issue of ISIS magazine. It does not say what has become of the group's former leader, Abubakar Shekau. He was last heard from in an audio message last August saying he was alive and not been replaced. An ISIS video released in April said the same. Boko Haram, which has lost most of the territory it controlled 18 months ago, is fighting to overthrow Nigerian government Each 7-year insurgency have left 20,000 people dead, mainly in the country's northwest. Look how many people that have died. Still confirming the leadership of what I told you. Now, let me just give you the final report on this so that I can go on. You say, the post-Boko Haram leader, detained, not killed. Who is the one they say detained? The post-Boko Haram leader. That is this this Musab. He said, this is AFP, news report of 15/3/2019. He said the deposed leader of an ISIS-backed faction of Boko Haram has been detained by more radical elements who seized control of the group. 3 well-informed sources have told AFP. Uncertainty has surrendered the fate of Abu Musab Abanawi after he was replaced as leader of the Islamic State West African province, ISWAP, last month. An audio recording about his removal appeared online some 2 weeks ago, sparking speculation as to whether he is still alive or dead. There's no need to read this report. The bottom line is that he had been assassinated. That is the son of Yusuf. He had been assassinated. He was not the one that was captured in Lokoja. That is the point I want to clear, and that is the point that made me to read some of the background news for you to see. Now, let me come to news report on the one that was captured in Lokoja. The one that was captured in Lokoja. Let me give you some background news on him. And then I repeat what I said last time. And this of world record, because I've given the background of why Boko Haram was formed. I've progressed it to the abduction of the Chibok soldiers. Now let me read you a BBC report on the capture of the one in Lokoja. Khalid Abanawi, Nigerian Islamic Group head. BBC of 3rd April 2016. Now, I'm quoting the BBC. He said, the leader of Akweda-linked Islamic group, Ansadu, has been arrested in Nigeria, authorities there say. A military spokesman said Khalid Abanawi was captured in Lokoja, capital of the central state of Kogi. The U.S. has placed a 5 million, that is 3.5 million bounty on his head after branding him one of the 3 Nigerian specifically designated as global terrorists in 2012. I hope the world is listening. Ansadu is a splinter group of Nigeria's largest jihadist group. Boko Haram, known for kidnapping foreigners. Known for doing what? Kidnapping foreigners. Ideologically aligned to Akweda in the Islamic Maghreb, it is also accused of killing a number of Westerners. Ansadu said it carried out an attack on a maximum security prison in the Nigerian capital, Abuja, in 2012, freeing dozens of inmates. Security agents made a breakthrough on Friday in the fight against terrorism by arresting Khalid Abanawi, the leader of Ansadu terrorist group in Lokoja. Military spokesman Brigadier General Rabi Abubakar said he is among those on top of the list of unwanted terrorists. They called him Abanawi, but they did not tell you his real name. That is what I'm trying to tell you. Now listen to it. I've shown you about the son of Yusuf. He has been executed. Then I'm telling you about this one that was arrested in Lokoja. His name is Khalid. His name is Osman Omar Bubakar. That is his name. Now, let me go back and repeat what I said before, because I preached this message before. So for the world to understand exactly what is happening, and I'm going to repeat it again. I said, in my 4th voice message on Tuesday, November 9, 2017, I revealed that the sponsors of the kidnapping of the Chibok schoolgirls in Nigeria used a combination of terrorists from the late Mohammed Yusuf Islamic militant Boko Haram group that he founded in 2002, merged with some members of the original Boko Haram founded between 1999 to the year 2000 in the guise of Operation Focus Relief, by the then two sitting presidents of Bill Clinton of America and Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria, who were actually the chief sponsors of the kidnapping of the Chibok secondary school girls for the purpose of later pretending to assist the SY government of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan regain their freedom, thereby softening the mind of the then President Goodluck Jonathan, who in turn will reciprocate by allowing the remaining demarcation of the boundary adjustment between Nigeria and Cameroon proceed as they wanted it to go in their claim of more Nigerian territories after stealing Bakassi Peninsula using the manipulated miscarriage of justice by the International Criminal Court of Justice on October 10, 2002, but later changed their mind and used the same Boko Haram to remove Jonathan from power. After the kidnapping of the Chibok secondary school girls on April 14, 2014, and in order to make it impossible for the world to detect how the kidnapping was carried out, the strong elements of the late Yusuf-led Boko Haram that merged with some selected members of the original Boko Haram founded by former President Bill Clinton and former President Olusegun Obasanjo in the guise of Operation Focus Live in 2000 were separated, which was how the so-called splinter group of Boko Haram emerged. The sponsors of the kidnapping of the Chibok schoolgirls anchored their operation through American security agencies under the leadership of former CIA Director John Brennan. In April 2016, I want people to listen, the Nigerian army announced that they have captured Abanawi at Lokoja, capital of Kogi State, in north-central part of Nigeria. Khalid Abawani, whose real name is Osman Omar Abubakar, is the leader of Jamatu Ansar Muslimia fi Bilandu Sudan, aka Ansaru, that is said to be affiliated to ISIS. Khalid Abawani is the leader of the so-called splinter group of Boko Haram that I revered, merged with selected members of the original Boko Haram of 2000 created by Clinton and Obasanjo that were used to kidnap the Chibok schoolgirls. It should be recalled that before the arrest of Abanawi by the Nigerian military in April 2016, Washington listed him as a specially designated global terrorist along with two other Nigerians and placed a $5 million bounty on his head. And I want people to listen for what purposes. On Tuesday, the 14th of March 2017, the federal government arraigned the alleged splinter group of Boko Haram, Mohammed Osman. Have you seen it? Not Abu Musab. What is his name? Mohammed Usman, aka Khalid Abawani. His second wife, Halima Haliru, and 5 others, namely Mohammed Sani, Abubakar Abdurrahman Habibu, Mohammed Bashir Saleh, Omar Mohammed Bello, aka Abu Azam, Mohammed Salisu alias Dati, and Yakubu Nuhu, aka Bello Maishagi. These were some strong members of the late Yusuf Boko Haram that he founded in 2003 that merged with the ones trained in Operation Focus Relief that were used to kidnap the Chibok schoolgirls. After they kidnapped, they balkanized, they separated. And these ones, some of their members, these ones now, they were the ones that were captured with Osman Abanawi. That is what happened. They captured them. That is exactly what is happening. Now I'm continuing with the report. They were arranged at a federal high court in Abuja, presided over by Justice John Soho, the judge who refused to hands off Nnamdi Kanu's case, but who voluntarily hands off this case in his court with suit number. I know by now they have changed all these things. I know they have falsified it. But look at the suit number. FHC/ABJ/CR/36/2017. Khalid Abawani and the 5 others named above, as I revealed in my audio message of November 9, 2017, were some of the strong elements of the late Mohammed Yusuf-led Boko Haram that merged with some selected first batch of the main Boko Haram terrorists of Operation Focus Relief that were used to kidnap the Chibok schoolgirls and afterwards balkanized into the so-called splinter group led by Abanawi. Very instructive to note, during the regime sitting of their case on October 2, 2017, the federal government requested for the defendants Abanawi and co. to be kept in DSS detention facility instead of the Kujo prison because according to the federal government prosecutor of the case, Mr. M.S. Labaran, as reported in the Vanguard newspaper of October 3, 2017, the request was hinged on security reasons owing to their position in the Boko Haram hierarchy. The prosecutor said it would not be in the interest of public safety and national security to remand the defendants in prison custody, as they requested, stressing that Kuje prison was not sufficient to protect Abanawi, who leads a breakaway of the Abubakar Shekau faction, adding that they are one of the most wanted terrorists in the world, meaning they have been kept in the DSS custody and are supposed to be there till death. The defendants are answering to an 11-count terrorism charge the federal government preferred against them, including kidnapping and hostage-taking. Federal government had in the charge before the court, among other things, alleged that the defendants, being leaders of the Boko Haram cells, were involved in the killings of 11 foreigners in northern Nigeria between 2011 and 2013. Match it with the BBC report I read for you about the capture of Abanawi in Lokoja. Then I want to quote another authority for you. It said the Punch newspaper of March 14, 2017 provided more details about some of the murdered expatriate workers. According to the news report, the defendants were said to have in 2003 at Ikrima, Boko Haram camp in Sambisa, murdered 7 internationally protected persons. The murdered expatriates were named as 1. Carlos Boaziz, Brendan Vaughan, Silvano Trevisan, Constantino Caras, Gaida Yasa Saad, this one is a female, Julia Ibrahim, Eko, and Emad El Andadi. This is of international consequences. The terrorists allegedly buried the bodies of the murdered expatriates in shallow graves. In that my audio conversation of Thursday, November 9, 2017, I stated that if one goes through the remaining charges the federal government of Nigeria under President Muhammadu Buhari brought against these high-profile terrorists, one will notice that the federal government of Nigeria intentionally did not mention anything about their involvement in the kidnap of the Chibok secondary school girls, or mention anything at all about the kidnapped Chibok school girls in their case. Yet these are some of the main real terrorists that participated in the kidnap of the Chibok school girls. Do you know why? Because it will expose the secret of the Chibok school girls and other heinous activities that are daily committed in Nigeria by the CIA. I concluded that edition by stating that I want the world to listen and mark today's date, and that date was Thursday, November 9, 2017, and see what is going to happen to them after this date. That is Abanawi and 5 of his accomplices. They will either kill them or secretly release them, because that is the man, Khalid Abanawi, that we will use to show the CIA and other American security agencies' collaboration with the Boko Haram terrorist group. It is through him, Khalid Abanawi, that we will use to prove that John Kerry, the former American Secretary of State, is the same as General Ado Abalawa, spokesman of Niger Delta Greenland Justice Mandate. I will provide the evidence, and as God will have it, they are in the security net of Nigerian government. Let the world therefore demand for an international cooperation and taking over of the case of these suspects, and let President Buhari hands over the case. That was the first leg of the story. You understand me? The second leg of the story have to do with the supposed abduction of the 110 Dapchi schoolgirls on February 19, 2018, which was the subject matter of my audio message of Sunday, April 29, 2018, the eve of President Buhari's scheduled official visit to Washington that took place on Monday, the 30th of April, 2018. So what happened? They used the Dapchi school girls. Schools. They took the Dapchi school girls and used their kidnap as an excuse to release these high-profile terrorists. And these high-profile terrorists, as of today, all of them have been assassinated. You can never get them. So this is the record that they have been fighting to cover up. They have been wanting it to appear that make it believe that this Osman had never existed, which is a lie from the air. You understand me? Look at it. All the ones that they have arrested, where are they? All the ones that they have arrested, where are they today? So this is the story of what transpired. Now, to protest my point for you, let me show you one document. They claim that what is it? When they kidnapped the Dapchi school girls, what happened? What actually happened? Should be they paid ransom, which Lai Mohammed was denying and all that. Do you know why? Because they shared the money. Let me quote one news report for you, and that is why you will see why they are still keeping Daura today. Have Daura been prosecuted? Then they have told the world that 16 Boko Haram commanders surrendered, and those Boko Haram commanders that they say 16 of them surrendered have been integrated into the army. Those are the Boko Haram that are leading the war in Biafra land. So they claim that they surrendered. So it's up to them to provide those 16 Boko Haram commanders they say surrendered. You have to provide it to the world. Along with these people that I mentioned, this Abanawi and his group, this Osman Omar Abubakar, and his groups that are supposed to be in the DSS custody. You have to provide it to the world. So let us know the people that are behind the Boko Haram. Then what was the ransom that was paid? Let me read one news report for you so that you actually understand what is happening when they are talking about Chibok school girls and kidnapping, so that the world will open their eyes and see exactly what is happening in this country. Now what happened? The money they gave to go and release the Dapchi school girls, what happened? Let me quote the report of Punch of August 13, 2018. Punch, August 13, 2018. Anything I do, I give you reference. Listen to this report. It said, a civil society organization, Coalition Against Corruption and Bad Governance, says it has called for the probe of the sacked Director General of the Department of State Service, Mr. Lawal Daura, for his alleged link with two fraudulent bank accounts. The group alleged that part of the over £3 million released by the federal government to be paid as ransom to Boko Haram for the release of Dapchi school girls was diverted into two foreign accounts operated by a Nigerian security chief under the pseudonym Awalu Kalamu. The group, while welcoming the sacking of Daura by acting President Yemi Osinbajo, said it believes the coast was now clear for the Economic and Financial Crime Commission to look into its call to unravel the link between the said Awalu Kalamu and Daura. We have been calling on the EFCC for some weeks now to unravel the mysterious face behind the name Awalu Kalamu, which is a pseudonym used to operate two foreign accounts into which some parts of the over £3 million allegedly paid by the Nigerian government to secure the release of some of the schoolgirls abducted from Chibok and Dapchi towns in Borno and Yobe states, respectively, have been traced to. We are glad, I'm still quoting them, we are glad to tell Nigerians that our formal petition with documentary evidence is now ready and will be submitted to the EFCC on Tuesday in Abuja so that the anti-graft agency can have a lead to work on in unraveling the link between Daura and the name of Walu Kalawu, the CSO said in a statement on Sunday by its chairman, Alhaji Toyin Rahim. The group had, at a press conference in July, urged the EFCC to immediately investigate the allegation, noting that the case was already subject of an investigation by the Israeli police. The Israeli police were the first to launch an investigation and subsequently arrested one of their citizens and others on account of bribery and corruption and corrupting foreign government officials, in which the Nigerian security chief's name featured prominently. Foreign probes report have established the true owner of GMBH account number 325700021 with Lambda Private Bank, Liechtenstein, under the pseudonym Walu Kalamu as the sole signatory, and Walu and Kalamu are said to be the Arabic synonym of Nigerian names. I repeat, for emphasis. Foreign probes report have established the true owner of GMBH account number 325700021 with Lambda Private Bank, Liechtenstein, under the pseudonym of Walu Kalamu as the sole signatory, or Walu and Kalamu are said to be the Arabic synonyms of Nigerian names. Liechtenstein is spelled as Liechtenstein. I'm still quoting. The organization said it's determined to see that investigation in this matter is not stalled by any means whatsoever. We have trust that the EFCC will do the needful and will save us from the ridicule brought upon the country by the unscrupulous security chief, the fake and Walu Kalamu. This is by exposing and punishing him according to our law. Only this will prove to the world our seriousness in the fight against corruption. However, let us warn, any attempt to sweep this matter under the carpet will be resisted by the masses of our people, and Kakobas will take all legitimate means to compel EFCC to do its work, the CSO has said. Can you imagine? Look at it. The money they gave them to pay as ransom to Boko Haram, it ended up in Naira's account. Then they shared it with Lai Mohammed and all of them, former Inspector General of Police, all of them, they shared the money with Burata and all of them that kidnapped the Dutch schoolgirls. Have you seen it? This is one strong evidence. This is one strong, important evidence. Look at it. I'm giving you world international records that are verifiable anywhere you go. I've told you, boss, I've told you before, their population may be, let me say, about 60 million, with their unborn children, which I can even liken to the eggs, about 5 million, which means they are about 65 million potential people. I can liken them to a chicken of 65 million chicken, a poultry of 65 million chicken, built under a big tree wall, a poultry that is wall, built under a big tree inhabited by, hogs, owls, black vultures and all that. Lizards, and all these dangerous reptiles and all that. Under a big tree inhabited by all these creatures, playing on them. Remember the war poultry of chickens being ferreted one by one, the hawks, they are taking them up one by one. One by one. We're going to check our population every day is reducing through extrajudicial killings and all that. I told you what they are running is what? They are running the Pharaoh's grain. 7 5 kinds and 7 link kinds. That's what they're doing. More than 78 Arab countries are preying on them. Americans are preying on them. Chinese are preying on them. African countries, in collaboration with African countries, all of them preying on them. China preying on them. One by one, they will all diminish, finishes up. Then the lizards and the, black vultures will lick up their eggs. And their chapter is completely closed. So it's a sorry situation for us. So now let's look at this news report. It says Nigeria indefensible despite diversity, says Sultan of Sokoto, Sahara Reporter, September 9, 2019. Said the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar, on Monday said that Nigeria remains an indefensible country in spite of its cultural and ethnic diversities. He spoke during the 2019 edition of Ulefuta Festival in Akure, Ondo State. According to the Sultan, some leaders have been using the diversity of the country to sow seeds of discord to their own benefit. He said that no meaningful development can be achieved in any country where insecurity and violence is the order of the day. Abubakar urged religious leaders in the country to refrain from using religious and ethnicity as avenues to cause a breach of peace and violence. He said, diversity, and I'm quoting, diversity is not the problem. It is management of our diversity that is the problem. Our diversity should enhance good economy and strengthen it, but it has to be tapped into and we must celebrate it. Also, we must focus on the management of our diversity and not desecrate it. There is no time for internal wrangling. It destroys our unity and nobody will benefit from it. We should work together to have common goals and ensure our regional integration. This man should be arrested. This Sultan should be arrested and asked to tell the world what he discussed with the Sultan. I have said it. And I'm going to elaborate more. We are going to see most of this atrocity, the government collaboration with the Boko Haram, so that the world can actually see what is happening. This is opposition parties mobilizing bandits, Boko Haram. This is against election. Federal government alleges. This is Punch of January 21, 2019. It said the federal government has alleged that the opposition political parties are busy mobilizing bandits and members of Boko Haram to cause crisis in order to stop the forthcoming election in the country. It further alleged that the plan included attacks on some state governors as well. Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, made the allegations at an ongoing press briefing in Abuja on Monday. Among the states which he alleged were being marked for attack included Adamawa, Bauchi, Benue, Kano, Nasarawa, Plateau, Kaduna, and Zamfara states. These are areas they have plotted to clear. So we are going to look at the activities of this Boko Haram, what have been happening to them, and see whether these allegations these people made are true or whether they are actually the ones that are responsible for it. Like what I told you about the kidnapping of the Baptist school girls. In order to throw them away, throw the people off the line, of discovering what happened, they say key leader of Lear abductors killed. Says the military. This is Nation of November 18, 2018. It said that Nigerian military yesterday claimed that it has killed one of the leader of the Islamic State West African province, the Boko Haram factional group leader believed to have abducted Leah Sharibu. A statement, Nigerian Army said that the ISWAP media chief Ahmed Saleh was neutralized in an operation by own troops in conjunction with personnel of the Nigerian Air Force. According to it, reports available reveal that one cell Ahmad Aka Baba Hassan, the leader of Al-Banawi Media Group, a faction of Boko Haram, was killed by a joint operation conducted by the Nigerian Army and Nigerian Air Force. The Army added the killing of the media leader is indicative of efforts by the NOA to eliminate key members of the sect. It is worthy to note that the sect is directly affiliated to Islamic State and has carried out several attacks against own troops and innocent civilians in the past. The Army stressed that the death of the group media leader has shown that the leadership of the terrorist group was being targeted successfully by the military. It assured that other key members of the group will soon be apprehended or killed, adding that it has identified the new leader of another terrorist group, Jamatu Nusrami Islami Wala Muslim or Fadi Iyadi. So what are they trying to do? They are trying to throw you off the hook. Key leader of Lear abductors. Key leaders of Lear abductors are Lai Mohammed, Daura of DSS, Buratai, all of them put together, former Inspector General of Police. These are the key leaders of DSS. These are the key leaders of Lia Sharibu, that chief school gets kidnapped. So let them not deceive anybody. So we are now going to look at the romance with all this where is it? All this Boko Haram with the government to see actually what is happening. I will bring back Lia Sharibu. Other guest says Buhari. This is by Sahara Reporters of July 8, 2019. President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday promised to ensure that Lia Sharibu, the only Christian schoolgirl in Boko Haram captivity after the Dutch schoolgirls kidnapped, Buhari made the pledge at the grand finale of the 2019 Nigerian Army Day celebration and combat support arms training week at Ikeja Cantonment, Parade Grand Lagos, represented by Vice President Yemi Osibanjo. He said, the challenge for us is to recognize this Sikh extremism of Boko Haram for what it is and form alliances across faith ethnicities to destroy an evil that confronts us all. We will continue to demonstrate the political will and determination towards ensuring that our land is rid of insurgency and that criminality is kept at the barest minimum. There are also other situations of insecurity in our midst, the Fulani herders and farmers' conflict, random killings, banditry, and kidnapping in different parts of the country. These are challenges that the army had had to interfere in on many occasions. We assure all Nigerians that these challenges are being seriously tackled by the federal government, working with the states through a multi-pronged approach, working with the Nigerian army and all our security forces and law enforcement agencies. Nobody will be allowed to maim, kill, or commit other crimes and escape. It is our duty to apprehend and punish these criminals, and we are doing that, and we will continue to do so. It is now up to our judiciary to ensure that justice is meted out, not just comprehensively, but in a timely manner, he said. We want to reassure the affected families and friends that the administration will not relent in the effort to bring back all the remaining girls, including Lia Sharibu, who has become a poster child for the heinous atrocities of Boko Haram insurgency. We will reunite them with their families and friends by the grace of God. Look at him. They were the people who kidnapped them.